I'm just going to give you an exercise for, I don't know, for your biceps, I guess. So you don't have to really go to a gym or any other fitness place or anything like that. If you have an E46 subframe and you're trying to push in or to install the differential bushing. And I'm going to continue working on this E46 subframe. Today is going to be that part where we install all the bushings back in a sense that these are new bushings. The old bushings were all taken out. I painted this whole thing, and I will start with the differential mounting bushings. If you watched the removal of the bushings, you would know that we have two of them in the front and one in the back. These are small bushings, rubberized. They have the outer shell has a rubberized coating, so it's basically all rubber. So it's going to be not as difficult of a press in because the rubber on the outside gives. And as you can see, I already have one bushing in place. This was a test run, nothing special. I used a little bit of anti-seize copper just on the lip, on the edge of this bushing, so when it starts going in, this helps a little bit. And then we have one bushing that is in the back, and it's a larger bushing. This one has a metal outer shell. In any case, this is what's going to go in today. One thing to make a note is that on one side of the bushing we can see the core protruding or sticking out in layman's terms, and also there is an oval on the inside diameter. So those two things we have to be observing when we press this in. The oval is supposed to be totally horizontal, so there's a bit of a so you have to line up the bushing in such a way that this is not crooked, not vertical, or no angle or anything like that. Also, this extended part is going to be on the inside of the subframe, and it's going to be facing the differential. This is going to be the outside, and this is going to be, so the flat part is going to be on the outside of the subframe. The tool that I'm going to be using for this installation is going to be this, a fairly simple tool. Again, that's what I use to extract these bushings. Again, this part is going to be pushing this bushing, and it's supposed to have a counter bore, just because you cannot be pushing against the center of the bushing, so you're going to be pushing against the outer shell. So the other thing is that we are going to be pressing this bushing from the inside of the subframe, not from the outside but from the inside. So if you have this still mounted onto your car and you remove the differential, you're going to be pushing this bushing in where the differential sits, from that area, from that space. Now the outside, I use this, and there's a bit of there's a lip on this side of the seat, and this is going to be sit against that lip. So let's line things up and start pressing things in. This is important. The lining up process is important because when the bushing is in, even slightly crooked, my OCD is going to kick in, and I'm going to be really upset if the thing is not perfectly in. If it doesn't sit perfectly leveled, even, and such. So I'm going to put this knot here, and I'm going to be checking for the alignment. I'll probably use a bit of an impact to maybe start it, because I feel kind of lazy. Maybe I should move the camera a little bit. In any case, I'm going to line this up. I'm just going to eyeball it. That's good enough. Besides, there is no good way to measure anything. This is just a spacer, like I said, like that. I'm going to start this up. I'm going to let's check Yeah, the bushing started, so I'm going to... The impact is not really going to be my tool of preference. I think it looks slightly, well, like this. So this, and this, and this. So now I have... So the bushing is fine, it kind of started. This is tight now, so I'm going to use this ratchet and I'm going to just turn it. Well, I'm going to set the camera in such a way that you can see the progress, I guess. This is the bushing here, so this is the tool, and I'm going to be turning this. I'm not going to really talk about how this will work if the subframe is in the car, because I probably should look at the car itself, but you might not have as much room if this is in the car because of the tunnel. You may try to maybe keep this as short as possible and maybe even put a wrench on this side and a ratchet on the inside and actually turn. Probably that makes sense if this is in the car, so you may want to just have this wrench on the outside and have a ratchet on the inside and be turning that, but I'm doing this in a way that is easier for me. So this is the bushing again. I'm going to be turning this ratchet and we can observe this bushing just going in. There's not a lot of real resistance. I can probably do... No, there is a resistance, but not a ton. So, and as you can see, bushing is just going in nicely. That's where it's getting tight, because the more engagement of the bushing you get, the tighter it becomes. So as far as how far to go, the outside is flush and the inside is so I guess that's how it is. The outside part is flush here, so I'm going to keep pushing this until I guess this part of the tool lines up with the subframe. That's about 10 more millimeters. Oof. It is tight. It was nice and easy in the beginning. Oh, son of a gun. It's tight. This is not a large ratchet. I mean, it's a 1/2 inch, but it's taking some abuse. It's a made in Germany tool, so it should be fine. So I guess be prepared for that part. The more of the bushing you get into the subframe, the tighter it gets, so you will have to use a bit of a muscle. Well, let's check it out. I suppose unreasonably tight. I think it has to go a little bit more, just a little bit more. A few more millimeters to go. Right, so once the bushing is all the way in, it starts to bottom out against this outer part, and I think you kind of can feel it. So at that point you kind of know that it's done. I think that should be it for these two bushings. These are the forward bushings. So that should be it for these two bushings. That's how they are installed. This side, the outside, basically is pretty much flush with the lip. I think the bushing, I should have really measured the original bushings, but I think it's fine whether it's a millimeter or two in or out, as long as they're equal. Shouldn't really matter. I mean, if you can get them perfect, just get them perfect before you remove the old bushings. If they're factory original installation, then you can just measure everything. I should have, I did not. And that should be it for this. So the next bushing is going to be this one. And as you can see, that bushing goes in here. So now this is going to be the back side, the back bushing. This is just one single bushing in the back of the differential. This goes in, again, it goes in from the inside of the subframe. It's you cannot press it in from here, so you're going to be pressing it in from here. This is the part that goes in first, and again there is an alignment. So in a sense that this is an oval, and the oval has to be installed. The bushing has to be installed with the oval of the center bore being horizontal. This one I'm really itching to put a little bit of a oil on it or something, because this is all metal. It's a large diameter, and it may be a lot of fun pressing it in. Why I'm saying that this is going to rust, because this is the old bushing, and as you can see the outside, the part that was exposed to the environmental conditions is all rusted, and the one that was inside of the seat is not. So this apparently, yes, it is a coating that this has, all fresh and new, but it's going to rust. Well, yeah, it just cannot be just bare metal. I don't think it is. That would be insane. But I think I'm going to use a bit of anti-seize on it. Right or wrong, but I'm going to use a little bit. It's going to be in really tight no matter what, and yeah, I think I should. It's just because the worst part is getting in like halfway and really locking up, and that's going to be no fun, because in general you're pushing these bushings not with a hydraulic press in general, but with something that is like this, and these things are, well, basically all the manpower that you have is well, yeah, you can have a longer range and extensions and everything, but these threads also have a limit, and it's in my opinion it's safe to use at least a little bit of grease here, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to do that. Well, let's figure out what tools we should be using, and let's get to the installation of that bushing. In this case I'm going to be using Lamforder, and that's the box. There's a port number, I guess. Is that the only label? Yep, right here. Someone needs to know what it is. Again, E46 rear subframe rear differential bushing. There's only one bushing, so here's my plan. This is the bushing. That's where it needs to go. I'm going to put this one in here, and I'm going to put the bushing on. Again, the bushing has the center bore is not round, it's an oval. So I drew a line, so I know that when things are all covered up, I wouldn't be able to see the oval. So that's the mark right here. And I'm going to be pushing the bushing again with this. Hopefully this works. The main thing is that there is a bit of the center core is kind of protruding out. As you can see, this is the old bushing. The core is kind of sticking out on this side, and it's flush on this side. This edge is a little bit rounded, so that's that's the edge that's going to go in first, and this is going to be facing the differential. This hole here, that's a good question. I don't really know if it's supposed to be this way or that way, or if that makes any difference at all. I don't think it does. That's the plan, and I'm going to, yeah, I'm basically going to just push it in. Hopefully it works, because it's a large diameter bushing and it's the metal. So the seat is naturally metal, and the bushing outside, the outside shell, the shell of the bushing, the outside diameter is also metal. So that's not a good combination. Yes, I could have cut this stupid threaded rod. I don't know why I'm still using it the way it is. So yes, if I cut this rod shorter, I would need to space things out. So again, the alignment is important, and unfortunately this nut here is 24 and I still did not get the proper size range. And let's see if things start to really go in. So that's the basic idea in any case. So this spacer is, or that spacer is not needed. This is way too long also. It doesn't have to be anything longer than this in essence. So you just don't have the proper tool. I hope this works. So one of the big problems with these bushings is when you start pressing them in, they tend or they try to go sideways. That's not a good situation because it's just not. So it's already trying to go sideways, so I'm going to try and just gently nudge it a little bit in the proper direction. That looks better. Let's see if it tries to strip. Nope. Yeah, you can see how this bushing is trying to go. She's trying to go sideways that way. I don't like it. No, not going to. I'm going to try and line it up. In any case, that's usually the struggle with these. Beating on it until it lines up. Should I just keep pushing? That's one way, like I said, but I keep doing that. Well, let's try. Yeah, it's going sideways big time. So be prepared to deal with this thing trying to go sideways. So I'm going to stop the camera. I don't want to show all this struggle, and it's just pointless, but the idea is that don't let this bushing go sideways, and that's how you push it in. And let's skip forward until something interesting there is to show. And I can see a progress. There is a progress. Something is really not turning well. I better throw away this threaded rod after I'm done with this, because this is just something is really locking up and the threads are damaged. So these nuts, the steel on these nuts is much harder compared to this threaded rod. Although this rod, I think it was 10.9 grade, but you can see how things are really not going. It's resisting big time. Oh, this is something is going to snap, I'm sure. Could get a bigger wrench, and I really need to. So I guess at this point what's locking up is actually the fact that this bushing is already in place. I think it is. This is not really, you don't really have to measure anything here. Well, you kind of have to, and I better do. I guess it makes sense to measure this bushing because that way you can have some information. So this bushing is overall 56 millimeters, and as far as I can tell here, this rusted part is about, I would say, yeah, that's about 14 millimeters. And I think that's what it is here. So if I measure, well, we also have to consider that the seat is kind of rounded, has rounded edges, this has lips, and there is a radius. So this rust is actually getting into the radius on both sides, and so it's not really an exact measurement, and it's weird in a sense that there's much more rust here that is not supposed to be. Kind of strange, but this number here again, I would say at this point, if I just measure from the outside, this is a museum piece really. So right here, oh come on. So at this point I have about 11 to 12 millimeters here. So this exposed part is about 12 millimeters, which is about half an inch. And I think that's where we should stop. because judging by the measurements, the bushing is what it should be. And if anything, if the differential is not really, if it doesn't have enough space right here, then I can always push it in a little bit more, even if it's in the core. But I think that's not going to be necessary, because a few millimeters is not really going to matter. So now we have to relax. Well, go home and relax. Now we have to undo this part. Something really triple this, and I think I can I? I cannot get this rod out. I'm going to do the thing. So I guess I'm going to skip forward and get to the point where we can just show the final result. So this is the result right here. The bushing is pressed in. That's how it's going to look. Like I said, this lip, or this part of the bushing that is exposed, it's supposed to be this exposed part is supposed to be measured in about 12 millimeters, ½ inch, and that's how it is installed. And this part that is actually sticking out is also facing the differential. Ta-da! There you go. So at this point I have all 3 differential bushings pressed in. So if you're doing differential bushing replacement, that's how you do it. Press those out, press this one out, and press the new bushings in. This one again is the hardest. You have to be prepared to fight this one here. The forward 2 bushings are rubberized, and they usually don't rust or anything like that, and they don't actually wear out a whole lot. The rear bushing is the one that is more difficult. This one is, first of all, it's cracked. So it cracks, and apparently it takes more abuse. I guess that makes sense, because that's behind the differential, so all the torque is probably flexing the diff, and that's the bushing that takes all the abuse. And it's also metal on the outside, and it's got rust here, so things rust in. It's metal, it's a large diameter, it's tight in the seat, so I would not worry too much, but be prepared to struggle a little bit with this one. And also, if you're doing the subframe mounting bushings, I have a separate video for that. This subframe has those bushings pressed out because I painted it. Yeah, and there's a video how to get these out, and a video how to get these bushings in. Or I will have a video, because at this point I don't have it yet. But I will make sure that that video is on my channel and available to you. That should be it. So that's what this exercise is going to look like. You're going to I guess, stand on your left foot, and then your right knee is going to push this subframe down. You use your right hand to hold the subframe right here. So that's almost, so instead of using whatever resistance exercise, a dumbbell or any other weight, just grab this wrench, and that's basically how it is. The main thing is to pin down this subframe, and like I said, the right knee is going to be pushing this thing on the forward side down, and then your right hand is going to hold it down right here, and then use your left hand. Well, I'm a left-handed person, so I guess that doesn't really look good, but that's how you do it. So you hold it down, and then you start pulling this thing towards you like this, and you keep turning this not until, I don't know how many repetitions you really have to do. If your left hand is tired, I guess you can switch your hands and grab this wrench with your right hand and keep doing it. That also works fairly well. Something is locking up. I can see this is becoming harder and harder. So what muscles you exercise when you do this? I don't know, maybe this hand, arm. So switch hands, I guess. Who needs a bigger wrench when you can just use your muscles and just muscle through this?